because you're not going to stay there and fight the Muay Thai fighter.
Correct.
You're gonna go home.
Correct.
You're not there to get into a fight. It's not a tournament, right? You need to be in so you can get out. And I say that because I take Muay Thai, so
Yeah.
I fight it.
Yeah.
And that's just the case. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, I won't be dancing around showing how smooth your jab is. You know what I mean?
You will not know how flashy my head kick is. You will be like, did I just get kicked in the head? And where did he
go? That's funny.
Yeah. So listen, what is it? Emmy Litchenfield was the founder, the person who started that.
Emmy Litchenfield.
Emmy
right?
Litchenfield.
And he started with added boxing, right? People forget that boxing is a martial art.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very effective martial art. You have to have those foot skills, those hand skills, and then judo. And so he took practical applications of the arts that he knew and did the same thing. Which ones work with gross motor movements? Which ones can we learn quickly?
Right.
And then since it's come to America and going around the world, the system has grown and matured beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's different Krav Maga systems. One people know is Krav Maga worldwide, but there's a whole bunch now,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you have to have good instructions there. Don't get me wrong. Just like any other thing, there are places you can train that are bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the case. You can go to a college that's bullshit. You have to go to one that's not. And who's going to tell you it's not? You're going to tell you that it's not. You're going to go and you're going to do research. You're going to listen and find out and try it out and talk to other people. You're going to do your homework so that you're not wasting your time. But I personally believe, and this is from experience, that Krav Maga is a system that will give you what you need to deal with 90% of the stuff that you would normally come in contact with the understanding that it also gives you situational awareness skills. For
me, one of the things I like about Krav Maga, and I've always liked about it, is the weapons disarmament. So what do you think? Where does Krav Maga rank on the scale of the other martial arts you do, far as like knife defense, handgun defense, long gun defense, in close quarters?
Okay, very good. So when it comes to weapons defense and a defense on attacks, Krav Maga is going to rank very, very high because it addresses those things directly. But if you ask me, where does Krav Maga rank on ground fighting in particular, it's far behind Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So Krav Maga is going to say, okay, someone has grabbed your shirt and wants to choke you, or someone wants to choke you, or someone's trying to hold you while someone else is trying to attack you. Krav Maga addresses those things in particular.
Okay.
But if you ask me, okay, so now Krav Maga has to deal with this person that's got you on the ground, is going to put you in a heel hook in 15 seconds. Not 15 seconds, 0.2 seconds. You got to train jiu-jitsu to be able to properly defend that. That making sense?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that is a jiu-jitsu specific thing. If you ask me, okay, so Krav Maga has to deal with a Kali knife practitioner coming at them at full speed. You need to learn Kali for that.
Right.
Krav Maga and almost no art is going to prepare you for. Not even Kali prepares you for it. Kali says we're both going to die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, does that answer your question as far as where it ranks?
Yeah, well, it does answer my question for where it ranks. And it was one of the things that I just loved about Krav Maga was just really doing the weapons disarming, close quarter stuff with knives. And, we're talking about a person with a knife. We're not talking about, a ninja. You know what I mean? Not a guy that studies Kali, but, how to, dismantle that when you're in close corners from just a common person.
Yeah, and it's about also, okay, so let's talk about Krav Maga when it comes to knife defense. It is going to remove the person's ability to effectively wield that knife in seconds.
Yes.
In seconds.
Yes.
Split second. So that's what you want. Now, that is also to understand distance. Krav Maga knife defense and most defenses that you use is going to teach you at what distance and train you at what distance you're going to do what thing, and then make your body do it automatically. For instance, if I'm sitting here in this chair and someone opened my hotel door and pointed a gun at me, I can't do a gun defense from
That's
there.
right. That's right.
But I can throw this damn laptop at him and jump behind that wall.
That's right. Right.
Because the projectile is the projectile, and his brain is going to say something's coming at him. He's going to fire, but he's going to duck. And by that time, I'm on him.
Right.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So let's like you're talking about defense. So there's defense against someone swinging. We would train a bat, but that could be a tire iron.
Mm-hmm.
That could be any range extender or force multiplier. We like to say someone swinging that at you.
Right.
Right. We train someone. Now the gun defense stuff. That stuff is you really, really, really spend the time to train all the scenarios for gun defense, even though there is a specific rule we call RCAT, redirect, control, attack, disarm, right? That you apply to pretty much any gun defense with some exceptions. But that takes an insane amount of repetition and an insane amount of upkeep. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're bullshitting you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to show you, like, we trained it in your class, and I in the class we did,
Yes.
And I explained to them, this is not enough to put it in your system.
Yes. Yes.
This is to show you how it looks. To get in your system, it takes way more than this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But if you remember, that technique for defend gun from the front is based on a cross. Just a cross. That punch that you throw all day long, that you've been throwing all this time, when it's that defense is based on that gross motor movement that you've probably done a ton of times, called a punch.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now you got a bit of a jump to do that gun defense, and then you just work those scenarios. And then long gun too, right? Gun from behind, and like I always tell people, with any type of defense from a weapon from behind, the movement has to essentially be the same because you don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's behind you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
you don't turn differently if it's a gun, a knife, or their finger.
Mm-hmm.
That turn and redirection has to be the same or similar, and you have to then use your eyes as you burst in. And then immediately, what else is here? Trouble travels in pairs, trouble travels in packs. And I'm an open book when it comes to self-defense. I personally believe, and not just for self-defense, that all knowledge belongs to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Certifications you have to pay for.
Did you just give yourself like a star around you or something?
I was wondering about that.
That's not me, my hands. I didn't
Pretty
do it
high
on purpose.
speed graphics in the background. Fireworks on.
Yeah, look, you must hit a key point on there, man. Like you got fireworks.
I don't know. That's the AI. That AI I heard about.
Hey, listen, I got Wisconsin. We're on YouTube too. YouTube, we're on Instagram. Instagram, we're on YouTube. I have AJ Jollyvad. We also had Idris Ruley. AJ Jollyvad is a Krav Maga instructor. He teaches Kali, a bunch of jiu-jitsu as well.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a very accomplished martial arts instructor, martial artist, also businessman, security executive. We're on Instagram and we're talking about martial arts in the executive protection business. So you guys on YouTube, you can't see the video, but you're hearing the conversation. So thank you for tuning in. We're going to come back every Tuesday. We're going to have these lives. We talk about different stuff. This week is martial arts. Next week is going to be executive transportation. We're just trying to get that word out and try to increase the standard and the skill and the knowledge in the executive protection business. So thank you for joining. We also have somebody else joined in from a Krav Maga school. So whoever that is in that Krav Maga school, if you want to join them, please do. If you're in any other martial arts and you want to talk about the martial arts and the arts that you do and how effective it is for what we do in the security business, especially if you're working in this was specifically about executive protection, but if you work in a nightclub, I think a lot of this stuff comes into play too, because people are getting guns into the nightclubs. They are getting knives into the nightclubs, and you got a lot of things going on in there. And then just watching the temperature of the world, I just saw that Sexy Red got arrested in the airport today for some major brawl. I don't know if you guys seen this video, but they're in the airport fighting. There's a couple things wrong with that. Well, you saw nobody professional in the video. I think even her had like a what do you call that thing that you wear on the head? The bonnet. You know, they got a bunch of those people and look like a bunch of. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It looked like a bunch of thugs in the airport fighting, and so it really wasn't a good look for the security professionals. But one of the things is if your client has a fight, what are you there for?
Right. That's a interesting question.
That's a very good question.
But I'm looking at the videos today. It seems that today that more and more that you're going to have to go hands on with people, whether it's people jumping on the stage at a concert or at a political election campaign, because it's happening every day on TV. So I think this is an important conversation to have. Again, revisiting that there are so many people worried about the gun part of the security details. Brian, how many security details we've been on this year so far, you think?
Probably over a dozen, I would say.
Over a dozen, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think it's a little bit more than that. Definitely a little bit more than that between.
I'm losing count. I forgot my address the other day.
Are you serious? You forgot your address?
Yeah, I really did. I'm like, all right, is it 123 Sesame Street or something else?
123 Sesame Street.
Yeah. So how many details have we been asked to carry armed on this year? Zero, right? I think the one in Florida, I think they asked for. I think they did. I can't remember if they did or not, but I normally carry it because I can. But there's not much of that. So I'd rather spend my time in the gym learning how to fight, because not that I don't know how to fight, but fight better, because there's your competition, your what do you call it? The person on the other side of it. What is that person called?
Yeah, that's your competition.
Competition,
Yeah.
But your adversary.
Oh, your
Yeah, that is. They're in the training too, and executive protection is just not fighting. Before we execute a security detail, we do our research and planning. The adversary on the other side, before they launch an attack, they do their research and planning. So, if we're not ready, we're just, we're at a disadvantage.
That's right. And, when I think about it, good evening, everybody. When I see, and I'm definitely not hating on anybody who's been in the security industry, who's worked in nightclubs, but when I see the AR-15s, I see this and I see that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you're trained on this firearm. Maybe you are. Just because you carry it, don't mean you're fully trained, right? Like, when the grits hit the fan, what exactly are you going to do with your hands and your feet if something goes down? And so, that begs the question, like, how extensive do you want your training to be, when it comes to self-defense and things like that? And we've mentioned it in our classes all the time, over 95 to 98% of, executive protection details are unarmed, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to rely on this right here, also your hands and your legs and your feet and everything else, all your other extremities, right? So it's important to get in there and get with someone like AJ or Idris to be able to get in there and get that training in. So it's important.
AJ, how long? Oh, go ahead, AJ. You going to say something?
Well, I was going to say you want to get with people who are going to train you and train you under stress. You under stress, and then if you can, they will train you with scenario training. And if you can't get it, then ask for it. Because the scenario training, after you learn the techniques and you learn and you do the fighting and you do the stress, and now you need to apply it to scenarios similar to that you will come across, right? It doesn't do you a whole lot of good to train how to break up a fight at a basketball game if you don't ever going to do anything there, or how to break up a fight between 6-year-olds, right? Mm-hmm. You need to train the scenarios that work with the things that you're going to expect to encounter.
I appreciate that. Now, let me ask you this now. Like, how do you, say a person working in the executive protection field, how much time do you think that they need to invest from, start to, 1 month, 6 months, 2 years to actually to learn some skills that can help them out in the executive protection field?
Okay, so that's heavily dependent on the system.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Different systems take a different amount of time to learn, but let's just pick a system that's designed for, let's just say, mixed martial arts system, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to need to really kind of commit from 3 to 6 months minimum if you want to be proficient.
Okay.
But if you want to learn what you need to learn, a seminar is a good place to start.
Okay.
Right? And because if you go to the proper seminar and then you learn what you need to learn, then you can focus on the things you saw at the seminar that'll work best for you. And then let's say you're not looking to be a martial artist as well as a professional executive protection person. Well, then you still need to maintain and upkeep those technical skills. And the person who's teaching you will tell you how to do that if you're not going to be with them all the time. And maybe that comes to private instructions. Maybe they tell you how to train it on your own. Maybe they tell you to get a trainer partner at your house and run through these techniques. Maybe it's give me a call and we'll go over it over Zoom. I don't really care. But if you train it, it will perish slowly if you don't upkeep it. And sometimes just in the mind is a good way to upkeep it as well.
You're absolutely right, because I train in my mind a lot, man. I train one as a musician. You know, I don't know. I see music. I see the bars and all of that stuff all the time. So I'm like, okay, thinking about a little chop or something I want to do on a song. All right, okay, I'm practicing it in my head. Then when I go to the drum set, then I sit down. All right, then I'm working it out there. But likewise with martial arts and stuff like that, people shadow boxing, right? Shadow boxing or katas, or doing your
case.
Yeah, that's it. You're just practicing in your mind, and you don't need much. But those are basic skills will give you that primer, before you can get to a gym. So I would say that you don't have to not do anything. You can still stay sharp in your mind.
Exactly. So go commit the time to get the skills that you have to upkeep. You can't upkeep what you don't have. That just doesn't make sense. But when you go pull it into your system, then hopefully you can get past upkeep and go to advancement. Where you're advancing your skills, right? And you can do that. You can advance your skills further from what you learn with proper training and proper techniques to train with whatever your scenario is. You can improve even if you're not at the facility that you originally learned it. That's okay. That's possible. People do that.
Let me ask you this, because again, in my mind, I study a lot of stuff in my mind. I see it, I'm always watching. I'm thinking, okay, if this person steps with this leg, then I'm gonna do this. If they're coming, I'm gonna use their body, their weight against them. I'm thinking all these things in my head.
Yeah.
But watching MMA on TV, could that help somebody really study and learn the arts?
What I would say, just like watching any other art or any other confrontation for tournament art, is it could teach you what you want to learn. You're not going to learn the technique from watching it. Not most people. Some people have. I've done something similar. I can adjust that to what I just saw, and then they go train that. Now, I'm not saying it's a broad sweep for everyone. Nothing applies to the entire planet. But what I am telling you is, if you're gonna watch something like an MMA fight, then you can see, okay, I see that particular thing could be effective for what I do. Now you need to go learn that. Right? Now I'm not telling you to go teach it to yourself. I'm saying, so go learn it. Right? Go learn it. And maybe you have someone that you can talk to. You can talk to us. You can text me and I will give you my honest opinion, or you can comment or something. And I'll be like, yeah, that's bullshit. Or I say, I have seen something similar, and so I say that could probably work. It's not what I do in my system, but that's definitely better than doing nothing. Now go practice that, right? So as an instructor, I think you need to have an open mind. If you think that your system is the only system that has the answers, then you're living in a really small box, and that's not going to help you or help your students. You have to have a broader aspect. Even the masters like Bruce Lee, or my master, Tuhan Apollo, or who was actually attached to Bruce Lee, or Danny Inosanto, these are the masters that are still alive, and they still use different systems. They teach different systems at their school. They bring other systems to their school to do seminars that are not their systems. And if the masters are doing that, then it's probably worth something. Martial arts didn't appear in this universe today or this century. It has been going on for thousands of years. So there are certain things that just work. And what I would tell anyone listening is if you're a martial artist and you do not understand the structure of the human body, then you're not really a martial artist. Because martial arts is about manipulation of your opponent's body by the manipulation of your own to your benefit. So, in all of that, you have to understand human anatomy and how to apply it in your self-defense scenario. And go listen to or read Sun Tzu's Art of War. Do that too.
Yeah. I got that, one of my favorite books. I got a bunch of books in my collection. That's one of my favorite ones. There also is a book about martial arts and anatomy, how the body works. I know there are probably a bunch of them. I know I got one in there on my shelf. I probably never read it, but I know I have it.
That's very, very important. So books are a good place to get that. Like, people see pressure points, right? Well, pressure points are a thing, but points of manipulation are more effective. And the one I always teach people to start with is controlling someone behind the elbow is more effective than trying to control them at the wrist. If you don't believe that, practice it on yourself or on your kids. Remember when your mom used to move you? Come here, boy. Okay. Yeah. This is where she moved you. You think your mom's a martial artist? Your mama is a martial artist. My mama's a martial artist. So she knows how to, come here, boy. Come here, boy. These points, the body goes where the head goes. The body goes where the neck goes. Controlling these points, right? Learn that. There's this. I've heard people say, well, hey, AJ, if I was to punch somebody in their nose and I shattered their bone into their brain, I'm like, yeah, maybe. It's a lot of time to go through just running away, but yeah, maybe you could do that. That's not an effective skill to focus on. But I will tell you that you should be concerned of the person who practiced one technique 1,000 times versus a person who practices 1,000 techniques one time.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Conversation that definitely needs to be had. I'm not sure if there's anybody else that's talking about that. So this is something I do want to see because I posted a video. It has nothing to do with executive protection the other day, and I'm not sure if it was even a chokehold. It could have been, something else. But chokeholds in security. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so the first thing I would tell you about chokeholds and anytime you're dealing with carotid arteries is just because you put somebody to sleep doesn't mean they're going to wake up. So you need to be aware that if you put someone unconscious, then you could be liable for them not waking up. Even just keep that in mind. But when it comes to chokeholds, specifically choking, when it comes to cutting off the carotids, these two arteries here, it doesn't matter your size, everyone goes to sleep. You can choke out a tiger or a cougar. It has happened. But when you use them in a matter of self-defense, just know that you're playing with life or death, right? And if you do them incorrectly, which most people do, you're either going to damage the trachea or you're going to damage the spine. And so a lot of people we call those neck cranks. So you try to put on the choke, you're not actually cutting off the carotid, you're just cranking the neck. And cranking the neck doesn't stop the person, and they won't really feel the pain until later. Adrenaline will take care of it. So if you don't properly learn how to apply a blood choke, is what we're talking about right now, then you probably won't even stop your assailant. Right? So when it comes to using them, there's a lot of different chokes. When it comes to there's choke with using the arm. There's choke with using their arm against them. Here, there's lots of different triangle chokes and head and arm chokes. There's lots of different ways of cutting off the blood to both sides. and you can cut off the blood completely. They should be unconscious anywhere between 5 to 8 seconds or less, but you can also cut down the flow and immobilize them as well. So you cannot have it on perfect and still shut them down within 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. But just know, if you don't have the blood and you're just choking them and they can't breathe, well, that could take forever, because some people can hold their breath for a minute or more. Mm-hmm. And someone can do a lot of damage to you in a minute. And if you're putting the choke on, your goal is to stop them, then you should know how to cut off the arteries, because that's the thing that's going to shut their brain off, not cutting their air off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Am I making sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
And the liability part is really important, because you are liable. You are liable. That's not to say that you won't be able to get off. It will self-defense you. That's fine. You have to be able to express it and explain it to the authorities and maybe the court.
So, as a martial arts person, certified martial arts, number one, would a blood choke be considered deadly force?
It is. It is deadly force.
Any chokehold, rather it's a blood choke or it's a chokehold is deadly force. Did we lose him? All right.
Get in the circle.
All right, guys, we're on, again, Instagram, YouTube. We're talking about martial arts and the executive protection business. We got AJ Jolivet. We had Idris Ruley. We got Desparrow, my protege. And we're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can't see them if you're on YouTube, but I know you can hear the conversation talking about martial arts in the executive protection and security business. And currently, we're talking about chokeholds. And my question that I posed, and now AJ is back, as blood choke or any chokehold is considered deadly force. Am I correct?
It is, because if you put someone in a blood choke and you don't let them go after they're unconscious, they die. You are depriving their brain of blood beyond the amount of time that their brain can be deprived of blood and still come back from that. So if you put on a blood choke on anyone, you could kill them.
Okay.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I think that the law enforcement has kind of readjusted use of blood chokes. Because George Floyd, and that's a very sad situation, of course. But keep in mind that when you use deadly force, then that means you felt your life was in danger or bodily harm. Because bodily harm could mean your life is in danger next. So bodily harm, life in danger. So or bodily harm of another person too, right? So, and then you can be justified in using deadly force. But chokes just are. And I'm not telling you not to use them. I'm telling you learn them. Learn them so that you know how to apply them, and that way you have the consequences understood, and then you actually can limit the chances of causing more damage or not. And just remember, last thing, just because you put them to sleep doesn't mean they're going to wake up. Some have, especially in today's America, they have other conditions. They're diabetic. They have heart hypertension. They have had a heart attack. They actually may have had problems with their trachea before. So there's other things that can be going on with them. It could just be stress. Mm-hmm. That when you put them to sleep, they don't come back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Senator, we got 10 more minutes. We're going to do a segue. I'm going to bring in Dr. Dexter Jerome Perkins, because both of you guys are combat medics. If we beat him up, we got to patch him up. So I think it's a good chance to take his last 10 minutes and bring him in. Doc, if you come in, I'm going to send you the request right now. And then if you have any questions, please ask the questions. Bungie Adams, who's on here, will tell you he asked a question on one live that changed his whole life. I think I got to kick somebody off. So it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, the Marine that killed the homeless person. Hey, where is that? Hey, Doc.
Doc.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, baby boy? How you doing?
It's like getting the band back together.
All is well. All is well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a great discussion going on this evening.
Thank you, man. I always see you on here. We get to go, and I like to try to acknowledge my people, but we get to going, and I forget about it, but I kept on seeing your name up there, and it was, and I'm glad you made that comment because I always like to bring you on for your expertise.
Oh yeah, I always listen in when I catch you on the live. So
yes, sir.
Pretty much I'm always listening in.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. So we're just talking, man. We're just talking about those medical skills. Like he said, if you put somebody in a chokehold, they may not wake up. And I think I told him this is a good way to segue into an executive protection. To kind of end the night, wrap the night up, because executive protection, you just can't beat up people and hurt people and injure people and then ride off into the sunset. Now, if the situation requires that, you shoot one person, however that situation goes down, and more are coming, you got to get in the car and roll out. But if it's a one-on-one situation, you just can't leave the guy on the ground and roll out. Somebody has to stay, and somebody has to take accountability for that, and also render him or her medical aid. So, no better two guys to talk about it than you two.
Okay, yeah. Well, in that situation, like AJ was talking about with using what he called the blood choke, choking the guy out. Like say, there's been many cases, where you hear about the person who's being killed by someone putting them in the, I guess old school they call it rear naked choke, but
rear naked choke.
Still the name.
They still call that AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and you holding it too long because once again, you're cutting off the blood perfusion to the brain. So, like AJ said, normally the guy should probably pass out in a few seconds, but you got somebody, he probably done passed out and you still hold that compression on those arteries. So now, you killing the guy. And basically like I made that comment, I think basically, that's what happened with the brother on the subway train. The homeless gentleman, they say it was like a Michael Jackson impersonator. But, the guy who was a former Marine, he put him in that choke and, killed the guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just posted a video on my YouTube channel too. It's a security guard. Some guys come stealing stuff out of the store, and I don't even know, security guard, a private citizen, they choked him up. It didn't look like a trachea choke. It looked like more like a blood choke. Right? I'm not sure, but anyway, I think just the mindset is like you say, Krav Maga, muscle memory. If the cereal box fall, if this is what you do, this is what you go to, and I think that's just a bad way to go about doing business.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had my son do that to me one time because I just wanted to feel it. I had to be honest. I just didn't believe a cat could put you out that quick. And my son, he's big like me, and I said, okay, well, just do it and let me go. But I guarantee you, Mr. Key and guys, I felt my head exploding probably in a matter of a couple seconds. And I know I was going. I felt myself passing out in a very short period of time. So, no, it's very effective.
Yep, and I train my students this one, right? Because you have the trachea here, and I got Doc here who can talk about it. So when I say crushing the trachea, I explain it to my students like this. Have you ever taken a Coke can and crushed it? And they say, yeah. I said, well, you can crush the trachea like that. Have you ever uncrushed it? No. And you can't uncrush the trachea either. So when you crush and damage that trachea, they no longer have a functioning trachea. They're going to have something there so that they can breathe and function, and you've caused permanent damage if they even survive it. So these are things that are dangerous, and it's like when we compete with jiu-jitsu, we know that a trachea crush is what we call pain compliance. So pain compliance is completely different than a blood choke, meaning that if it's a blood choke, it doesn't matter how much drugs they have in their system. It doesn't matter none of that. Their brain will not function without blood. They're going to go to sleep. But a pain compliance means that they have to feel the pain and submit to the pain. And usually a rational person will. But how many people are you dealing with that are irrational in a situation of self-defense or protection? So now you're going to apply a trachea choke, and they're irrational. They're not complying with the pain. So you're doing damage, sure, but they're not stopping. And so then your attack or your attempt to subdue them is not actually functioning. And so now you're actually taking yourself completely out of the danger. Because what I train with my students, and just hear this one, I have them put someone in a rear naked choke, and I give that person a knife.
Mm.
And you want to know one way to get out of a rear naked choke?
Yeah.
With the knife.
Yeah.
And you only got a few seconds to do it.
Hey, listen, AJ, remember in class that the girl, you were teaching the choke and the girl almost put you out. You had to tap. Remember that?
Yeah. You know what tap means? Put me to sleep. I'm like, okay, tap means let me go. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Well, I was dying.
Yeah, I saw it. I said, oh shit. Listen, it happened with like Doc said, within seconds.
Seconds.
I mean, he had just taught her the concept, and I didn't even know she was going full speed with it. Next thing I know, you was tapping and starting to go to sleep.
Well, let's just say I was a little bit too good on the instruction, and she was a little bit too talented.
Oh man! All right, listen. We 2 minutes. We've been going for 2 hours straight. So I want to thank you, brother AJ. I hope to get. I probably won't see you. I won't be back in DC until probably Saturday night. So you'll be gone.
I'll be gone, yeah.
But I'm coming to Cali to see you. I promise you that. We owe you lunch conversation. We also need to talk business.
Yeah. Don't threaten me with a good time.
And listen, if I could, like I tell everybody, if I could pack my drums up and take them everywhere with me, I would. So I can't do that, but I could bring one of these guitars. That's for sure.
I got one for you when you come anyway. You can just take one off.
All right, sounds like a plan. Thank you, man, for coming on. Guys, this is AJ Jollyvat. The Black Belt Collective is where he's an instructor at, but he also owns a company called CDO Gear, which is dedicated to the medical field, or has tourniquets and other type of medical supplies. And you can tell them a little bit about that since you're combat medic. So I do definitely want to plug your business and how people can find you online.
Yep, you can go to cdogear.com and you can check out the products. I have a tourniquet that is designed to be small and you can carry around. I have regular cat tourniquets, I have tactical pins, and we do lots of training. And I just want to put things out there in the world that's going to save lives, not take them. That's why I decided to make those type of products, not gun accessories.
My man, could you type your stuff down here in the comment section? And
absolutely,
Doc may be stepping out of the business for a while, but he's one of the most phenomenal. Yeah, that word too. Phenomenal medical guys that I've ever met. Also, combat medic. Did I say that right? Combat medic, right?
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
Also owns his own business called Still Standing, where he comes out and he trains us all our executive protection. Him and LP, a fire medic, they train all of our executive protection agents how to be the best in the medic field for the executive protection business. I hope I said that right. But nonetheless, we feel like, hey, if you can beat them up, you can put holes in them. You also need to know how to patch them up. It may not be that situation. It may be a car accident with your client, a slip and fall, cardiac arrest, anything that can go wrong. But this is where we bring Doc in. They teach stop the bleed, all of that good stuff that you need to know to be a good executive protection agent. So, Doc, if you want to say anything, brother, please have your final words on there. We'll bring you back on next week. We talk some more.
Oh yeah, no, I was just, like I said, I was just tuned into the conversation. Great conversation. I always listen in, so yes, just to hear what y'all talking about, being nosy. But like you said, I done kind of stepped out of the business, and my buddy Larry LP. I don't know if Larry's on. LP, the fire medic, definitely want to shout him out. He's another great guy. Out there doing some good stuff, doing some good training. So yeah, So definitely that's pretty much it.
AJ, somebody said a line protection group say we just had you turn the kids in a few videos of the content we just made. I don't know what that means. Maybe you do.
I don't, but sounds good.
Make sure y'all follow him. AJ, did you type your information down there yet?
Oh, I didn't take my, put in there my,
make sure you do that.
They can follow my
Yeah.
Instagram
I don't know how that works, but I don't know if they can just click on you and follow you guys, but make sure you follow him. Make sure you follow Doc. Like you said, he's stepping out of the business. He has some other life priorities that he wants to take to, and he's done a great job developing some of the best leaders and medical people in the industry, both medic and security. So thank you, Doc, for your services. Thank you for what you do, and most importantly, thank you for your friendship. All right. So appreciate you. I'm gonna drop you two guys off, and I'm gonna leave my man Brian Sparrow, whatever he wants to say to close it out. But other two fellas, I love you, brothers. I will see you later.
Love you, man.
All right, love you back. All right, Sparrow, talk to me, my man.
Another successful live. Lots of great information, and just like I shared earlier, how important it is to know more than just how to use firearms when it comes to security or when it comes to executive protection or even your everyday life, right? There's going to come a time where you may have to be confronted with an individual who won't go hand with you, literally, right? So it's important to have those tools and always maintain that worst case scenario mentality of being ready at all times. Remember, it's about proactivity, not reactivity when it comes to a lot of things. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah, good book to read is it called Emotional Emotional IQ, EQ. So make sure you read that book. I have it on my bookshelf, and I don't know the author right now, but just look it up. It's emotional intelligence. One of the things, a lot of times in the security field, there's a lot of bravado, ego. You got to have some of that in order to be willing to jump in front of a bullet or a knife for somebody. You wouldn't be successful if you didn't. But the thing is to find balance, you know. You don't need to hit you don't need to be a hammer. You don't need to be the most aggressive in a situation. You don't need to be big. You don't need to have a lot of muscles. This is a thinking man's game, a thinking woman's game. That's going to be most importantly. But again, it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. Learn the skills, apply the skills, get the training. www.trustinmvp.com. That is my website. Hit the security training thing, hit the executive protection training link, and then look at the classes. We have one in New York. That's supposed to be June 26th. That actually has been postponed to August due to unfortunate circumstances. And then I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to make a bigger announcement about it probably Thursday or Friday. The first executive protection driving class, the executive chauffeur classes, we like to call it, not necessarily evasive driving, because evasive driving just says you know how to drive fast and crazy. But executive chauffeur is a skill that needs to be learned if you want to drive high profile people, which we do. And people talk about Fortune 500 companies. So that says we work with some of the top Fortune 30 companies. And a lot of them. And we drive them around every week, DC, New York, California. This is what we do. So we decided, let's throw the evasive driving class out of the window and let's have an executive chauffeur class. So October 21st and 22nd will be our first executive driving course of the year. And it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be on a facility and a track and with vehicles that you guys could only dream about. And I love to have you guys in the class. So look out for the links. If you already came to the class, there's no discounts. I got to tell you right now, there's no discounts for this course. Now I say MVP, School of Executive Protection is the fastest growing executive protection school in the world. I can tell you this, the driving school is the best executive driving school in the world. And I can say that with certainty and don't have to, no regrets in saying it. So you guys look out for that, and I'll see you in the class. So with that said, YouTube, you guys can't see this. You can't see Sparrow, Brian Tucker, but feel free to follow me on Instagram. And then come back for more of my content. My Instagram is @security_czar, which is spelled CZAR. just like here on my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I don't do that much, but more importantly, if you want to do business with people like myself, you want to find us, you need to create a LinkedIn profile, get yourself on LinkedIn and be active, because that's where the professionals are that spend money and look for people like you and I. With that said, I'm gonna let Mr. Brian Sparrow Tucker close out. My man, give him the words that you need him to hear.
Remember to invest in yourselves, and even during times when there's no training going on, always constantly train daily in your mind. Write down what you want, manifest what you want, especially when it comes to executive protection. I can't tell you the copious amount of times when people have asked me about the classes, about the driving classes and everything, and they don't show up. Like, what are you waiting for? So get out of your own way, ladies and gentlemen, sir, ma'am, talking to you guys, and get some training in. Do your due diligence by looking around, by vetting. But as I always say during the live, I'm biased. So because I've received both types of training, executive chauffeur, and then executive protection training through MVP, through Mr. Key, many years ago, back in 2022. It seems like many years ago, but I haven't looked back ever since. So please invest in yourselves and do what you have to do to make yourself marketable and successful.
My man, I appreciate it. There's a lot of people on here I want to give a shout out to that didn't get to give a shout out to. We're going to do that before we close. Hewitt Grant Agency, Dave Grant, thank you, man, for being a good student of the game, a good colleague, and a solid professional. Kim, simply Kimmy, we've been friends for almost 20 years now, maybe a little bit more, but thank you for being a solid friend and professional. Joan Dynasty, you never work with us. There's a reason. If you send me a message one day, we'll sit down and talk, but thank you for always being a strong supporter and, attending our classes. Aries Defense, we appreciate you, my friend. Mikey, baby driver, he's one of our best drivers that came through our driving class in Miami. There's so many people. I just can't. I wanted to go through the list, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but y'all know I love you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you for interacting with our content. And with that said, peace. I'm out. Yeah. I got to end this thing. All right. Go. All right, guys. That was this is the end of our live. I'm not sure how much you heard or whatever that is, but you can check this out on Instagram. I'm going to repost it sometime this week. What I'll do is I'll just take it off of Instagram and we'll repost it here under my video so that you can come back and check it out anytime. So what I do, I'm the security czar. Sometimes you might see me with a goat on my shirt. People say, what's the goat for? Because I say I'm the greatest of all times. I've been doing executive protection for 30 years. I do it at the highest level. So you might check out some of the videos that I post on here. That some people see it as criticizing, but I call it critique. The only way that the security professional profession can continue to develop is through critique. And so it's not, people are critical because, if you watch the videos and you listen to what I'm saying in these videos, the things that they're doing are blatantly wrong. And I'm not talking from a hindsight. This is something that I've been doing for 30 years. And like I say, I protect Fortune 30 companies. And it's 500 companies. About 10 of the top 30 are my clients, and I deal with them on a weekly basis. I also protect politicians, some of the highest level politicians, presidential candidates, celebrities. Now, when it comes to celebrities, I don't do rappers at all. Now, not saying that I won't, but there's only certain rappers that I will do, and they have to be very high up on the food chain because I don't have time for the nonsense. I demand a whole lot of money because I bring a whole lot of value to the table for what I do. And I'm not willing to put my life at risk for no dumb shit that they're doing out here on the streets or some silly beefs that they have with people. So I only work with high profile clients. I'm very good at what I do. My phone rings every day from the top corporate offices down to the White House. And these are my clients. You can check out my website. I'll put it down wherever you do this. This is my first time, I think, first time live on YouTube. So I'll put it down in the comment sections in the description when I actually post it. But in the meantime, it's www.trustinmvp bodyguard.com. And you can learn more about me. I'm also on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, all of that good stuff. So thanks again for you guys for watching for the first time. I hope that you come back. I'm going to do this every week. And I have, I think I got 100,000 followers on here. I think I just hit 100,000 followers on YouTube, but I got something like 150 or something on Instagram. So I built my following on Instagram first. So I always do this on Instagram because that's where everybody is, and it's hard to get people to transition from Instagram to YouTube. So while I'm building this following on YouTube, I'm very appreciative of you all. I hope that you come back. I hope that you learned something. I hope that it was informative, and I hope to see you in one of my upcoming executive protection classes. Thanks, and I appreciate you. Have a great night. Peace. I'm out. Hey, and thanks for whoever bought the badges or whatever, and whoever told me they love you. I love you back. They said that I am one of a kind. They called me the best, and I really appreciate that. I really do. I really, really, really do. I love you back, and I hope to see you guys more. All right. So somebody else, Marquette, thank you. They said I'm the best. I'm a real one. I appreciate that. Awesome Live, the wild card. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up, and I'll give you my email. So I'm just give you not my business email because I don't want all of the emails to flood my business email. So I'll give you my personal email. Melvin Key, very simple. Melvin, MELVIN. Last name is Key, KEY @gmail.com. You have any questions, feel free to hit me up. And I'm also on WhatsApp too. You can find me by that name. All right, guys and girls, thanks so much. See you next time. Peace. I'm out.